What's going on, you guys? James here, and Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones if you're celebrating. By now, you've already seen Wonder Woman 1984, and if you haven't, you should rush to it. Check out my review at the top of the screen and come back to this video. Why? Because I'm gonna rank all 9 DCEU movies, and well, you guys might not be too happy with where I have Wonder Woman 1984. So like I said, guys, we're ranking all 9 DCEU movies from worst to best. That's going to be a lot of fun. But before we do that, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that bell so you don't miss out on reviews and videos just like this. And guys, get loud in the comments below. I need you to throw me your rankings down there. I'm curious to see where you have Wonder Woman 1984 and every other DC movie. And go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down who directed, who starred in these movies, and my thoughts on everything. So without further ado, let's get into number 9, Justice League. Directed by Joss Whedon, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, and Ray Fisher. This movie is a travesty. It is an entirely terrible film that deserves to be thrown in the trash bin because of, well, a lot of behind the scenes controversy. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and retell the story, but as you know, Zack Snyder had to step away from the project due to an unfortunate tragedy in his family. Joss Whedon was hired by Warner Brothers to come in and basically reshoot the entire film. And what really disappointed me is that a lot of Zack Snyder's vision was tarnished in that process. It blows my mind, guys, because this movie could have been so much better, and I know we're getting the Zack Snyder cut soon, but I'm telling y'all, this is a movie that had so much potential. From the writing to the CGI, hello Steppenwolf, and even the action, none of this was convincing at all. I was incredibly hyped for this movie. I remember watching that first trailer and I was so freaking excited, okay? I was bouncing off the walls and I thought, you know what? This is it. This is where the DCEU gets put on notice in a good way and just really sprints to the finish line. Like, I think this is the movie that's going to put them over, and unfortunately put them completely under. This was the nail in the coffin for the entire DCEU. Alrighty guys, well, let's move on to number 8, Suicide Squad. Directed by David Ayer, starring Will Smith, Jared Leto, and Margot Robbie. A movie so bad that they had to hire James Gunn to do another Suicide Squad film to hopefully make you forget about this one. Yeah guys, this is a mess. In 2016, I remember walking out of my screening for it and thinking, it's not terrible, it had some redeemable factors to it, but heck no. The only redeemable thing about this film was Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, clearly because she got her own film later on down the road. But man, this is just a hodgepodge of what could have been, you know? I mean, a lot of this film had a decent foundation and the trailers look good, but then what happened? Well, studio interference, and yep, you guessed it. There apparently was some sort of David Ayer cut floating out there, but then Warner Brothers slashed a lot of this, and well, this is pretty much an unrecognizable movie to him, and it's a shame. But guys, I don't know if I want to see the Ayer cut, and that's not me saying if it comes out I won't watch it, but I mean, they're making another Suicide Squad movie already. I don't want to see more of this. Not only is Cara Delevingne terribly miscast here, but she is an awful villain. You have so much going wrong for this film. There are some cool action scenes, but outside of that, man, it's a mess. But it still made a lot of money, and it won an Academy Award. Okay, alrighty guys, coming in at number 7 is 2018's Aquaman, directed by James Wan and starring Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Now here's a visually stunning film, and after 2017's Justice League, I had high hopes for Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I loved his off-the-cuff kind of humor, and it was a different approach to the character to where I thought, man, he's making this his own. And then you have this all-star cast directed by James Wan, and I thought, yes, yes, yes. But from the opening scene, I thought, no, no, no. It was all downhill from there. We have some awfully cheesy dialogue, crummy writing, and really D-level type action tropes that held this movie back from being something other than a nice to look at kind of film. That final action set piece, seeing that on the big screen was really cool, especially in IMAX, and yeah, technically it's one of the best DCEU movies from the costume design and even from just a CGI kind of visual effects standpoint, but as an overall film, it's not good. There are a ton of mistakes in this film, and I really, really hope that they fix that in the sequel. Am I confident that they will? I don't know. Do we know when Aquaman 2 is coming out? No, so, I mean, what gives at this point? Honestly, that's probably so far down the road that we're going to forget about the first one, right? Right? Alrighty, well, let's move on to number 6. And that is Wonder Woman 1984, directed by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot, Pedro Pascal, Kristen Wiig, and Chris Pine. Now, I already reviewed Wonder Woman 1984. You can, again, find that at the top of the screen or just search for it on the channel. But what I will say is, guys, this film had so much promise for me, especially after such a good film like Wonder Woman. That first film is really one I hold close to my heart and was a Wonder Woman fan's dream come true for me. And I had no reason to not trust Patty Jenkins with this sequel, and I thought Gal Gadot, okay, she crushed it in the first film, she can only get better, but I don't know, guys. The more and more I think about Wonder Woman 1984, the less and less I can excuse its flaws. But it did fall short of the mark one too many times and was bloated beyond belief. Yes, there are good performances sprinkled throughout by Pedro Pascal and Gal Gadot, even though I think that there are some moments where Gal is better in the first movie than she is here. But man, they mishandled Cheetah. I don't think that I can overlook the tropes in this movie, and there's some really bad writing here. And unfortunately, even though Hans Zimmer's score is really good, I think tonally it's all over the place. It's a total departure from the first film, and it's a shame because I had hoped this would make at least my top 3 DCEU movies, but there's no way I can even rank this movie above the next film, and that is, coming in at number 5, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. I want to make sure you guys understand, it's the Ultimate Edition, okay? Okay. Directed by Zack Snyder, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Jesse Eisenberg. Now, the theatrical version of this film is awful, okay? There's no getting around it. I'm just gonna say it, it's bad, okay? I know there are some people that really love it, but I can't see past a lot of its issues, and no, I'm just not ever going to go and revisit the theatrical version. Now, I did watch the Ultimate Edition, I believe it was earlier this year, and let me tell you, it's totally different. The theatrical version is just too busy, there's not enough explanation for certain events, and Jesse Eisenberg is awfully miscast in this role, and luckily with the Ultimate Edition, it corrects 2 out of those 3 issues. It gives you context for some important events. I think that the film breathed more, however it doesn't solve the third one, which is, well, Jesse Eisenberg is still miscast. But I still think I can't rank it higher than number 5 because it took an extended cut for me to come around on Batman vs. Superman, and the next 4 films did much better on their first try. However, what I will say is this, there is enough in the Ultimate Edition for me to get even more excited for the Snyder Cut, and that's because, man, there's something there. There is a foundation. What we've seen from the Snyder Cut only gets me a little bit more excited for that version of Justice League. So yeah, bring on the Snyder Cut. Coming in at number 4 is 2019's Shazam, directed by David F. Sandberg and starring Zachary Levi, Mark Strong, Asher Angel, and Jack Dylan Grazer. This movie is FUN. It's fun, okay? Zachary Levi just owns this role as well as Shazam. I can't tell you enough, guys. He embodies what it is to really feel like a kid again in this sort of film, and I walked out of that theater thinking I want to see this movie again and again and again. His chemistry with Jack Dylan Grazer and Asher Angel is just A1, and there is again a childlike innocence to this film that just played so well. And David F. Sandberg was able to direct those action scenes very well, but I love the fact that he was able to ground the film and give us those emotional tones. Oh, and the humor absolutely hits for me, and this is exactly when I thought, okay, let's depart from having every DC film connect to the DCEU, and maybe we'll start getting better DC movies. Which leads me to number 3 and a prime example of exactly that thought. Birds of Prey, directed by Kathy Yan, starring Margot Robbie, Jurnee Smollett, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Ewan McGregor. I really like Birds of Prey, okay, and I might like it more than most. However, I do have a friend that's seen it like 25 times. The thing is, the film is really rewatchable, and I do love the fact that, yes, Margot crushes it in this role, but it's a lot of the supporting cast around her that also made this film so great. Ewan McGregor, I mean, he plays one of the better villains this year. It's so funny. It's hammy, yes, but he just owns that role. The legendary Jurnee Smollett as Black Canary, and even Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Even though she didn't get the most screen time, I really dug this all-female cast that was, of course, leading the charge against Ewan McGregor and the villains in this film. And I love the female empowerment undertone of this movie. Kathy Yan directs the heck out of this film, and man, it's worthy of being in the top 3 for me. But that leads me to our number 2 and number 1. So at number 2 is Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder, starring Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Lawrence Fishburne, and Michael Shannon. I did not like Man of Steel in theaters. I rewatched it at home, liked it a little bit more. I watched it a third time and I loved it enough to where I bought it on Blu-ray, and this is just the movie that grew on me over time. Guys, it is the most cinematic Superman movie we've ever gotten, and I really, really love Zack Snyder's vision for Superman himself. This is a very brooding take on Superman. It ain't cheery and it ain't always happy, but it is inspiring, and there are some beautiful moments, including that first flight scene. Hans Zimmer just kills with this score. I really enjoyed Michael Shannon's performance too as General Zod, and it was sad that he got the boot by the end of the film, but he was truly menacing. Amy Adams, I love her. She was a great fit as Lois Lane, and Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. I mean, every time I saw him on screen, even when I saw it the first time, I loved his performance. This is truly a movie that is epic in scale and is a Zack Snyder film through and through. It takes big swings, and not a lot of people liked it, but if I'm speaking just for myself, man, this is a film that not only got me to buy into his vision for the DCEU, but it made me excited for everything to come, and that's saying something. This is a film that, yeah, maybe I didn't like it the first time, but it's okay that the film grew on me, because now I can tell you confidently I love this movie. And that brings me to my number one, and that's 2017's Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins and starring Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. This is the breath of fresh air that the DCEU desperately needed, and I honestly thought that maybe, just maybe, the DCEU was saved. After striking out with Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman, this movie just helped prove everyone that was doubting the DCEU wrong. Gal Gadot definitely proved her haters wrong and delivered a really good performance. It was a solid performance as Wonder Woman, and one that I figured, yes, she can grow from. Not all of it was perfect, but I really thought she embodied the character very well, and her chemistry with Chris Pine was great. I mean, Steve Trevor is a nice character, but Chris Pine bringing that character to life in a new way for me was awesome. And the direction by Patty Jenkins was just amazing. She gets it, you know? The No Man's Land scene is still the best moment in the DCEU. I mean, it is just not only memorable, but it is so epic. Dude, this is why you go to the movies, for a scene like this. It has that big action feel when needed, and is enough of a comic book movie that made me nearly cheer at our press screening. I mean, it just understands what it means to be both hype, right? It gives you those moments of excitement, and yes, it does have that superhero vibe, but it also gives you enough emotion, and there is this awesome theme of humanity throughout where Gal Gadot is constantly challenged, and I love the fact that they gave us this side of Wonder Woman. This is just an amazing film, okay? At first I thought, yeah, it's maybe like a 2.5 star, but that all changed when we got into that second act. Of course, the third act kind of diminishes the film a little bit, but those first 2 acts, man, Wonder Woman just crushes. So of course I was able to go ahead and excuse that schlocky third act, and that villain showdown was awful, even though Patty Jenkins did reveal that Warner Brothers kind of asked her to throw that in there. Again, studio interference, what's new with the DCEU, but I really do appreciate this film so much. It is just much better than Wonder Woman 1984, 2 totally different films in tone, of course, but man, this being so grounded, it's just awesome. This film is a joy. So there you have it, guys. That is my complete ranking of the DCEU. If you missed it and somehow skipped all the way to the end, let's recap. Number 9 is Justice League. Number 8 is Suicide Squad. Number 7 is Aquaman. Number 6 is Wonder Woman 1984. Number 5 is Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition. Number 4, Shazam. Number 3, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Number 2 is Man of Steel. Number 1 is Wonder Woman. You know, reading all those names, I'm hoping that if they do another Birds of Prey movie, it's a better title than that. I don't hate it, but you know, not a lot of people are going to understand it. Anyway, guys, that is my ranking of the entire DCEU. Now, I want to know your ranking down below in the comments, so get loud, smash that like button if you haven't already, and guys, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel if you've watched all the way up to this point. That means you're a part of the real family anyway, so come and join us, and don't forget to tap on the bell so you don't miss out on any reviews and reactions as we head into 2021. Alrighty guys, well, I'm gonna get some sleep because at the time of recording it's, well, I don't know, maybe like 1 in the morning or so. Merry Christmas again, you guys, and I'll catch you at the next screening.